Hello, I'm Erik Johnson. I'm Director of Product Development here at Hexagon Mining, and I'm going to show off our virtual reality in MineSight 3D. So first of all, I'd like to point out that this is not a game, that's not a game engine. This is actually MS3D, which is mine planning software for authoring mine plans. So you can see at the top there's all the CAD functions related to creating pits and declines and all that other wonderful stuff. So what's virtual reality about that? Well, we dropped in the virtual reality engine inside the framework, so it allows us to do things like bring up the specific data. Here I can see these nice blue ore bodies. I'm trying to point at it, of course you can't quite see that. But you can see the ore bodies that as they're defined. You can see all your drill holes in context. Now say I want to see inside some of these. I have these nice blobs, but what's inside? Is there other ore bodies within there? Is there other pieces? We added the ability to throw in a cutting plane where I can actually cut into that quickly and look for trends in the data. So here I see that I have multiple red areas. Red is high grade. There's something going on here. There's multiple pieces of high grade ore in a direction. So there's probably a trend line there, and we can make our geological interpretation better. Would you have found this in a true 2D true 2D interpretation? Probably not. But it was almost instantaneous that in VR, in sweeping through, that we can see exactly what's going on and where it's going on, and then I know that it's on this plane, and I can make a better interpretation. This is also a good way if you're doing mine planning. You need to validate your geological model. So what that means is, you see these nice holes here, these nice sticks that are coming down. Those are drill holes. The color is the rock type, where whether it's a granite or whether it's sandstone, and then the size of it, you can see there's one that has a bigger area in it. That one means it's a higher grade. And we can, since it's in the authoring tool, we can adjust what these colors mean, what the patterns mean, to whatever matters to you. So once you get those drill holes in there, you're going to use another product by Hexagon Mining called Geologic. I'm sure there's another talk on that one. And what it does is it creates these solids that represent the ore body. That's great. We can do that. It's an interesting problem because most people are aware of point clouds where you have hundreds of millions of points and you want to thin it out and use less data. It's reducing noise. In mining, we have the exact reverse problem where we actually have very few data points, 1/trillionth of the data of the entire mine, and we want to actually have surfaces from that. Completely different problem. So we use geologic and radial basis functions to create these surfaces. However, because it's so data sparse, you get issues like, well, over here to the left of the screen, you can see that there's these nice big wavy things, but there's no data. That's invalid. That's an area that the function decided to carry on over to the left, because radial basis functions by their nature want to make spheres. So they're going to continue where you don't want to. So you can put a control point in here. On the left side, you can put a control point to control it from going there and validate this model and make a better geological model. Other functions, we've put in the ability to measure. Let me measure distance. So as soon as I decide to measure distance, I get a laser pointer. We've started exposing some of the CAD functions in VR. Like one of them is, say if I want to measure the distance between this peak and this peak over there, I could just enable the measuring. You can see there's a red cross there. That's snapping to the surface in real time across this quite complicated surface. So I want to make sure I get it right. I want it from there. And then I want to spot way over here. So what's that distance? Well, now I can go over here and find out the distance is 5,262 meters. Well, then what if I want to take it over here? Okay, now we're at 10,106.95 meters. And I can go on and on and on with the measurement. I'm also in the VR, I can select objects and query their values. I can author, I can make pits, I can digitize polygons. You know, the whole key to VR as I see it is, you know, everyone can do basic things in VR, but how do you make it useful? And I would argue the way to make it useful is to put it in an authoring tool and give people the ability to manipulate it. Not just look at it, not just measure it, but actually manipulate the data. And that's why we've gone to all the trouble of putting it inside our CAD package instead of just allowing it to display. You know, we can manipulate, we can bisect, we can analyze, and we can create. So I would say, if you're here at Hexagon Live, come out and try this. It is something, I guarantee you, it's something that you have never seen before, even if you've done VR. If you're prone to simulator sickness, you will not get sick. We maintain over 90 frames per second per eye. So what that means is it's rock steady and stable, and you don't get simulator sickness.